everyone, welcome to this tutorial in which I show you how to make some little teeny 2-inch pieces of art that you can give away as gifts, or if some of you are doing markets and shows and things like that, it can give you an alternate price point to sell some smaller works of art in an economy where people are tightening their wallets a little bit. So what I've done here, I'm going to give you a couple of different options. So first up, I want to share with you some of these little inkies, 2-inch inkies that I painted last week. And they were great fun to do and really just working intuitively and spontaneously and letting the ink guide me. So this is pretty much using all of the techniques that I'm teaching in my new class, Jump Into Acrylic Inks, but going a little bit smaller. So this is really fun. And then I was thinking, well, how am I going to display these? And so I had a look online to see whether I could find some 2-inch by 2-inch, because this is what these are, matte boards, so that at least if I were to sell them or display them, it's just a little bit tricky when you're trying to just, sell something that's 2 inches, right? So it kind of makes them appear more substantial, I guess, when you have a mat around them. So normally when I sell my paintings, especially if I am selling them online and sending them overseas. So anything that's a larger work, sorry, the cellophane is on here, so it's a bit glary. Anything that's a larger work, I will just package with some cardboard on the back in a cellophane bag and sell it unframed. And that way people can take them to the framers and have them framed themselves. But with these little guys, as I said, we kind of want to make them appear a little bit more substantial, okay? And so selling them with a mat is going to help you with that. So I looked up where to find 2-inch matte board, and I found an Australian supplier. I've written down the name somewhere under here. Where did I write that name down? Okay, it's rinkit.com.au, so rinkit.com.au. And these little ones were only $4 Australian for a pack of 10. Unfortunately, I looked it up again this morning and the company does not appear to ship to anywhere else in the world. So those of you who are in Australia can purchase these here. But what I would suggest if you're in other parts of the world is just to look up 2-inch by 2-inch matte board or 3-inch by 3-inch, whatever you would like to paint in. And they come in their own little cellophane bag. So once you actually pop your painting in there, you've got your bag ready to actually package them. So you've got everything there that you need in one. And you can buy the frames as well. So, here it is. I'll put one together for you a little bit later. But this is a 6-inch by 6-inch frame. So again, just look it up online. I got these from Rinkit, and they will fit they'll fit either. They'll either fit this one here with the larger opening, or they'll fit this one here with the 2-inch opening, okay? So, a great way and an inexpensive way to frame small pieces of art and to have pieces of art at different price points. Having said that, so these little ones that I did last week, I didn't really think about, at the time I didn't think about framing them. And so what I did was I divided the page up into 2-inch by 2-inch squares. And what you can see there is that obviously they're going to be too small inside the mat because the mat itself is 2 inches by 2 inches. So there's like a little tiny gap around it, okay? So what I want to do is just give myself a little bit more space around the image. And you could, if you did 2 inches by 2 inch, you could do what I've done here and rule up 2.5-inch squares and then actually just kind of mount those on the backing paper with a double-edged tape, double-sided tape, sorry. And then you would be able to pop the mat over the top, but it wouldn't give you very much of a gap around it, so it might look a bit weird. So what I thought is, let's give this a try. Rather than doing the 2 by 2 inch squares, rule yourself up 2.5 by 2.5 inches, which is what I've done here. And then we're just going to kind of play in the center so that we do leave ourselves a little bit of space around it so that we've got the image contained within the 2 inches by 2 inches. I guess if you wanted to, you could do the 2 inch by 2 inch in the middle and actually draw it all up, but it just feels a little bit fiddly to me. So I'm going to try without doing that, okay? And so basically all I did with these little ones is I started with a small brush and some water. And so for example, this little birdie, just doing a little oval and then dropping in some ink, tiny little bits of ink, obviously, because we're using tiny little bits of paper, right? So again, you know, this is such an exercise in, I guess, minimalism, right? Because what I'm seeing a lot with students who are posting in the class is that some are getting very carried away with how fun this all is, but popping way too much ink onto the page. Just going to pull that down there. I'm going to pull up a little head up here. Way too much ink onto the page, and then they're just ending up with a lot of just a lot going on, right? And you don't get the beautiful transparent kind of feel of the inks if you put too much on, okay? It just ends up being like gluggy. So let's pop a little bit of orange in here. So I'm just kind of going off this shape up here that I've already done, but last week when I did it, I just pretty much put little blobs of shapes on and then played around with it, and I wasn't sure what each was going to be. Okay, I'll pull you in here and hopefully I'll remember to pull it back out again. All right, so with this one, what I'm going to do first is bring with my bamboo skewer, bring a little tail down, remembering of course that I'm trying to fit this into 2 inches by 2 inches, so I'm leaving a little gap around. And then we've got one wing coming off here. So just creating those wings by drawing the ink out. And then one wing coming up here. And as I say all the time, if you're not used to working with the bamboo skewers, it is going to take a little bit of time for them to be your friend, but persevere because you will love them in the end. I'm going to bring some little legs down here. And then we just need a little beak. Let's just do a slightly different. See how I can draw the ink out with the skewer as well, if you've got enough ink on there, right? So you have to have enough happening. Now, if there's too much, you can use little bits of paper towel like this to lift a little bit of ink. Just like that, okay? And then I can either, he's a pretty funny one, he's a bit wonky, but that's okay. I can either pull the beak out using the ink, or I could do it with a a gel pen a little bit later on. I can add some little flowers in the background. By just lifting ink from the bird. And there is one little piece. Now, if I take my viewfinder, I can see that I have managed to get him all into the 2" by 2" square. Okay, that's number one. Now, the thing is, when you're doing multiples like this, it doesn't matter if they don't all turn out, right? So I'll leave it zoomed in and we'll work into this one here. So let's have a think about a little turtle. And we'll go this way. Now you might have some images in mind, or you might have some little bits and pieces around your house that you could pull out to use for inspiration. I'm going to stick with a similar color palette. And see how I go. Let's go with these. So that's marine blue that I used in these. So this one was marine blue, antelope brown, and orange. And so I'm going to pop the antelope brown in here as well. Just do something slightly different. And I might just do something a little bit different here and pop some fluorescent yellow into this one. And see what happens. Ooh. How nice is that? Beautiful. All right, so then again, I'm going to take out my skewer and I'm going to pull out, first of all, a little leg out this way, a little tail, bring some marks for his shell, another leg out here. They're not legs, are they? They're flippers? Fins? Flippers. Okay, and then that one there. I'm totally doing this out of my imagination, but you could, if you wanted to, you could actually look up some turtles to get the shape that you want. And his head, little neck coming out there, and then head. Now, if you wanted to, you could actually add a little bit of white in as well. So if I dip my bamboo skewer into the white, so I just get a little bit, then I could add some little white dots around his shell. And again, it's going to depend on how much ink you have on there. See how in some areas it's taking and in other areas it's not. It's just to do with the amount of ink that you have on the page. So it really is a game of like playing with how much is enough, how much is too much, how much is not enough, ratio of water to ink, even like the climate, you know, where are you in the world and what's the climate like there? Do things dry more quickly? So there really, you know, as I've said before, there really is no exact science with this, and it is, you have to kind of just play. But what better way to play than to, let me lift a little bit here, to have all these multiple little, see how pretty it looks when you actually pull some of the ink off? All these multiple little works to work on. And again, you know, no attachment to whether it's going to work, whether it doesn't work. I'm hoping that some of these don't work, and then that way I can show you maybe what else we could do with it. So somebody said to me the other day online, what did they call me? The queen of, I don't know, it was like the do-over or the, and it's true. I'm a bit like stubborn that way. I don't give up on a piece. I would rather reinvent, maybe that's it, queen of reinvention. I'd rather reinvent it than give up on it. So that's pretty cool. If you did want a little bit of background like I have in this one, you could just take a little brush, lift a little bit of the marine blue and pull it around the outside. Or the other thing you could do would be at a certain point, just nudge up against parts of the turtle, and anything that is not completely dry will come out a little bit into the background. But a very, very fine touch if you're doing this. We don't want like it to be overwhelming. So it's just kind of like a hit and miss. Touch the edge and then move away. Touch the edge and move away. So you just get a little bit of something happening in the background. Nice. Now the other thing you can do once these dry is you can add in gel pen or pencil or anything else. You know, if you want to put in an eye for this guy, if you want to do any more kind of patterns on here, or perhaps do some little fish in the sea, you could also just pick up some ink from the one next to it and do some little schools of fish. Like that. So he's quite lovely there in his little 2-inch square. All right, what are we going to do next? Let's work into this one here. I'm just going to do a little blob down the bottom, and I do something slightly different this time. Let's try some turquoise green from the Amsterdam range. As I said, you don't have to stay in the same color palette, but if you were wanting to make a little series that you could put together, or you wanted to give somebody several little paintings to hang on their wall, it would be beautiful to have some that actually worked together. So that was light green in the Daler-Rowney. And let's do something dark in this one as well. Let's go for some indigo. And put a little bit of indigo towards the bottom and a little bit towards the top. And this is quite thick, so again, you know, when you dip your brush in the water, you might want to take some of the water off, because we're trying to get at least a little bit of this beautiful transparent feel. You can see how the ink is pooling here. So that's where we might want to lift a little bit of ink just tearing off small amounts of paper towel, and then I'm letting it soak up the ink rather than trying to actually manipulate it or push it or rub it. None of those things. We just want it to soak it up. All right, so I won't go down any further because that's probably around about where the 2 inches is. Okay, let's put some stripes up here. And let's do some, okay. I'm going to pull some of the green up so that we get a few stems. And then pull some leaves off those stems. All just using the skewer to move the existing ink that's on the page to create these little leaves. Nice. And then I'm going to just drop a little drop of orange into the vase and use that orange for the flowers. So pick it up. And then maybe a tiny touch of the yellow as well. And then make sure that each one has a little, actually that should have gone over here. I'm going to have to put another little flower right here to cover that up. Stems coming down from each one. Until we are happy with the little vase of flowers. How fun is this? It's so much fun. But remember, don't overwork it. Just work on one little one and then move away. And as I said, when it's dry, you can always come back to it, and you can always add to it with gel pen or pencil. Just lifting some of that ink now. So some of it has come out when I just lifted it, so I'm going to deliberately pull a little table around, and you'll see some of it, and then some of it you won't see because of the mat. See, some of the ink is coming out. You could even make use of that and kind of add a little bit of shadow. Beautiful. All right. Cute. So see, I've gone a little bit beyond where I should have, but that's okay. I'll be able to just crop into probably around about there. You can play with where you crop it. All right. Now I'm not going to do every single square here because that would be way too long, and I think you're going to get the gist of this. So, and I think it's nice that I can pull you in and do these close-ups for you. Let's do something a little bit different in this one. So the trick is just to like get the ink on there and then see what your imagination does. And imagination, you know what, like for a long time I thought I didn't have any imagination. And it's not true. We all have imagination, just sometimes we actually stop ourselves by our limiting beliefs. So you just keep working and working, and sometimes the imagination, your own imagination, comes by emulating others first. And then when you are comfortable enough with the materials, you begin to kind of have your own ideas. Other people just have lots of imagination right from the beginning. When I'm doing my workshops, there's always somebody, like we have this session where we're trying to see things within, like we do these big canvases that have a lot going on. We have a session where we try and see things in the canvases. And there are some people that are just blank and they can't see anything at all. And then other people are like, oh, look at that. I see a flying pig. I see this. I see that. There's a little girl over there. She's picking some flowers. And it's like, and then I just see like often the other people who are like convinced that they have no imagination. I see them start to like just go even further, like down into this pit of like, oh my God, I'm no good. I can't do this. I don't have any imagination. And it's just because that's what they've been telling themselves. But look, when you practice enough, you will start to see opportunities for your imagination to grow. I promise. Let's do another bird. So how beautiful is the bamboo skewer, you know? And so if you have too much ink on, it's a great opportunity to pull the ink out to make lots of little flourishes and details like this. Don't worry if it's not perfect. Like you see, some of them are filled in and some of them are a little lighter and some of them are darker. That's all part of it. That's all part of the beauty. And then we've got a leg, which is going to go down past where you can see. And another leg. And down here. Just pulling it down. And then let's do another wings. I can pick up some of the brown over here and add it to this side. You can play with the green and the brown. So if you do want to lift some of the ink, do all of your little details before you lift, obviously, so you can use the ink and pull it out. And maybe this one has some little dots up on the neck. Or if you do something that you don't like, just kind of smooth it out a bit with your skewer. Well, I lost a little bit there, I'm sorry. It stopped on me, so hopefully you didn't miss too much. So then I'm going to take a little bit of this yellow and I'm just going to pull a little sun into the sky. Beautiful. I think that's enough for that one. Let's see here. Oh, maybe about there. Yeah, so sweet, right? So lovely. All right, let's see, what else can we do? Let's have a look over. Let's do something up in this one. Maybe something fishy. So when you're painting with water, as I am here, you want to get the ratio just right, and that might take a little bit of practice. You don't want too much water, you don't want too little water, you want just enough. I have a feeling that this one was a little bit too much. It feels like it's going to pool. So let's have a look what happens. Let's start with some indigo. The other thing you can do, if it's too difficult for you to paint with just clear water, you can put a few drops into your water jar, like that. Pop a few drops of ink so that it's just slightly dirty, and then that way you can see what you're doing more. Okay, that's pretty cool. All right, maybe I'll do 2 little fishies in this one, or maybe 3. I like odd numbers, so maybe I'll also do 1 up here and 1 down here. I'm taking most of the ink out, especially for something this small, and just popping the dropper to the page. That was way too globby, that one, and it's not going to work in that way. So let's just lift that little one and get most of the water off the brush and try again. Okay, so I want to be able to put in some orange. And I think I'd like to put some white in this one. Again, see what's happening here? This is with this one, I had definitely put too much water on to begin with. So don't despair. Let's work with it. I'm going to just do a few little things first before I take the ink off. So first up, I'm going to pull some of the ink out so I can get like a fan tail. And then I'm going to also pop some fins on. And some of this white will go up here. Some of this orange will go here. You can see it becomes more of a muddy, kind of a green color when it mixes together. And that's just fine. As long as not everything becomes mud. You know, if you have a little bit of mud in your work, that's fine because it's a lovely juxtaposition to the brighter colors. But if you just keep on moving and mixing and then everything becomes brown, which is what would happen if I just mixed all of this around, that's what we want to try and avoid. So I'm just going to try and get this white to move around a little bit first. And then I'm going to lift. A little bit of paper towel. Watch what happens when we selectively. Sometimes if you've got too much on there, it might need more than 1 paper towel. I like what's happening there with the white, but I'm going to take it off because it's just pooling too much. There we go, that's better. A little bit of paper towel in there. Okay. And again, I think with this one, I might just bring a little bit of marine blue into the fish and then pull it out into the surrounds. So let's pop a little bit of marine blue up here, a little bit in here. And then I'm going to just take a really small brush this time. So it's a good idea with this exercise to have, normally I work with, these kind of brushes, like an inch brush. But when we're working very small like this, you're probably going to need some smaller brushes. So I want to get the background really watery. So see how I'm just letting some of the colors from the fish move into the background. Oops. Beware of dripping brushes. Again, if that happens, don't panic. Go with it. We can let that dry. Or I even like how indistinct that little fishy has become. Allow some of the orange to come into the background as well. That way we've got variation. Pull some of this marine blue out. Very, very subtle. Now the orange is coming out mixed with the other colors. Beautiful. This is one that I most likely will bring a little bit of gel pen into. Okay, so let's do one more, and then I think you'll have the hang of it and you'll be able to start doing some of your own. Okay, let's see. Let's just do a regular kind of circle. Let's do the world. That fine line between too much water and not enough water. That one was not enough, so okay. Let's pop some marine blue again. Oh no, that's indigo. And there's not a lot of indigo left in there. There we go. Better. And a little bit of marine blue. So you can see very limited palette today. A little bit of orange. And a touch of the fluorescent yellow. It's quite a lot of ink on here, but let's play with it, pull some things out before we push back, okay? So I'm mixing a little bit of the blue with the orange, and I'm going to just bring up some little trees coming off this planet. Just using what I have on my page already. Bring a little cactus up here. You can see the colors just kind of blend all by themselves. Because I've got these blues and yellows on here, I can easily pull little bits of each and make greens. Let's do just trying to think of some different trees. in my story painting class, which is one of my largest online classes, we do a whole exercise where we create lots and lots and lots of little trees, which we then can use as reference in our paintings so that we never kind of run out of ideas. We always can look back and go, okay, we'll put this one here, this little tree here. Okay, let's do another palm tree. And then something over here. What else? Something here to balance. Maybe just another. Just a scribble tree. It's like an ice cream tree. Again. Okay. That's pretty fun. I like that. Okay. Bit of paper towel. Lift. And lift again. I guess that's what I need to remind you to. If you're going to lift, just lift from one area and then don't go and press into the other areas. Otherwise you're going to take the blue and put it into the orange, etc. Okay, that's pretty nice. Now, do I like the little fuzzy planet? See how it's kind of gone fuzzy at the edges? Or do I want to make it a little round? So I don't know. Kind of like it. It's kind of like a little cotton ball planet, which, you know, that's kind of apt. So we should treat our planet as if it was precious and easily destroyed, I guess. So I'm actually just going to fix those edges a little bit. Just pull it out. If I want, say, the blue to spread, I can just kind of dab at it like that and it will reach out to touch the edges that I've just created. Okay. You'll start to feel if you're playing with it too much. I felt like I was just about to stop playing with it too much then. And if you play with it too much, that's when you're going to end up with mud. So I'm just going to lift this browny bit here that's happening. If you want to add some bright back in, you can just wet the little area that you want to be brighter. Let's say this little area here. And then you can drop back in one of the brighter colors like orange or like the fluorescent yellow. And then just really, really softly allow them to mix and mingle. Without overworking. Same thing goes with, like, for example, if I wanted to bring a little bit more of the orange into this little fish down here, now that he's dry, I could actually add some little patterns by bringing some of the orange, the wet orange from the other drawing over into this little guy. And I could also bring a little bit of the wet indigo for his eye. So you can kind of move back and forward from one little painting to the next as well. Super fun. Let's say I wanted to put a little bit of the indigo in this guy. I could. So anything that's still wet, you can kind of move around from one to the other. If there's anywhere that you want to add some marker, once things are dry, you can do that. So a little eye on the bird, maybe a little darker here, maybe some white gel pen in some areas, like around the fish's eye. Tiny little dots with the white gel pen. Maybe just a little pattern on the vase. A little strengthening of these little fishies if you don't want them to disappear. If you do something like that and you feel like, oh, it's a little bit too much, with the gel pen, you can just like wet a brush, take most of the water off, and then just soften some of the edges of that gel pen while it's still kind of malleable. It will dry permanent, but you have enough time to kind of play with it a little bit. All right, so I hope you've enjoyed this little exercise. I've had a lot of fun, and I hope it's given you, just a little glimpse of what you can do with smaller artwork. Let's cut one of these up. Actually, I want to talk about something else. So I'm going to put this aside for a moment, and I want to quickly just run you through another idea, and then we'll cut one of these up and we'll actually pop it in the frame. So, other idea is, what I want you guys to be doing is to be doing lots and lots and lots of practice, right? So I want you to be unattached to everything turning out. Everything does not have to turn out. Everything does not have to be a success. You just have to keep trying new things, putting in the work, and going for it. So this little piece is only 5.5 by 5.5 inches. It was part of a larger piece that I wasn't happy with. So often what I'll do is I'll cut pieces down if they're not working. If I get frustrated with it, or I'm just not sure where to go, but I see some bits that I like, I will use a viewfinder and come in and find the little bits that I like and then cut them and then work into them further. So with this little one that's like, it's okay, it's all right, like I'm just not loving it. I just, like, some pieces have like a wow factor, and it's like, oh, this one's really turned out well. I love the way that it's working. And sometimes, like with those pieces that have turned out really well, I'll take, let me just, hold on. I wish you guys were here with me in my studio so I could show you more easily what I'm looking for. Sometimes if a piece has turned out really well, I'll take elements from that piece. Let's say I have a hot pink flower in a piece, then I'll take elements and put it in another piece. So, you know, this one might benefit from like going a little bit more crazy with, you know, with the hot pink or the luminous opera, or opera. I never know how to say that. Opera. It looks like opera anyway. And I have lots and lots and lots of little pieces like this that I'm just like, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not going to put that out there yet. Might do something else with it, might not. So this one I added a little kitty cat in, if you can see him there. These types of works that I have in abundance because I'm just always working and playing and doing things, I could come into this little piece and I could create several small 2" by 2" works by just coming around and isolating little areas. So how cute is little kitty when we come into it like that? Can I bring you down even further? Yeah. How cute is that? Right, so 2" by 2". Let's go. I could move it around to there. I don't like that as much. I like that bit much better. Better balance. Now doing this also teaches you about composition. I know I've told you that before, but it's a fabulous way to kind of hone your eye for composition. So if I decided I was going to cut that little bit, which I think I'm going to, and then I come over, say here, well, what can I do with this piece? That's kind of cute as well, but I could also have another little kitty peeking out of here, which then becomes a series, right? Or if I don't want to lose this bit, actually I like that. Well, I like that just as it is. That's quite beautiful. So that could also be, so they might not all have a kitty in them. So it might be that one and then this one. What else is happening? I can move around. Ooh, that's quite delicious. Oops, you can't see that. I always have to remember to like pull it back up again. Let's go up here. Okay, so that is quite delicious on its own. And imagine the 4 of these together. That one. Do you see that one? So that one, that one, that one, and what's happening down here? So see that one, there's not a lot happening down there. So maybe out of this piece, I just get the 3. And that's okay, right? So out of one little piece that you weren't sure about, you've now got 3 little 2 by 2" that you can actually frame up and sell, and they would look beautiful together as well. Haven't even thought about the price of these. Let me think about it, and then when I post this video, we'll have a talk about that. So I kind of want to cut this one out right now. So that's there. So I'd say if I just do this in quarters. So let's see, I've got centimeters on one side. It's just about 14 centimeters. So if I do, you really only need that bit there. I do 7 centimeters. And then let's use a white gel pen, it will be easier to see. And let's bring you back out here so we can see what we're doing. Okay, so 7 centimeters, and where is that one? So you can't really see with the pencil. That's why I like to use the gel pen. Oh, there it is, okay. There to there. All right, so let's check this out. So we get this little one. So cute. Put him here. Let's move you right back there. This little one. Where is another? I just want to see them all together now. This little one I probably put in the center. Maybe this way. Maybe this way. And you can play with where you want it to be and what you want to see. And then one more. How cool is that? They look beautiful together. Little kitty with the big flower and the large pink flower with a little bit of teal. And then this little kind of delicate flowers over here with the orange band. And then now we're going to just pop one of these, or maybe I can try 3 of these as well so we can see what they look like as a set. So we'll just, and I will work on the other ones as well because I think these will make a great addition to my studio sale, which I keep talking about and which hasn't happened yet, but I promise you it's going to happen and it'll be the biggest sale I've ever had. Actually, I've never done anything like this before. And Cece and I, we are working on it. We've just had a lot of other things going on with the online classes, and it's only 2 of us running this business. So we do what we can do, but we have set a date. I'm just almost hitting 111,000 on Instagram, which is amazing. Organic growth over, I don't know how many years I've been on there now. I think maybe 12, 13, maybe more. So yeah, we'll be celebrating that. And so I might include some of these little ones in the studio sale as well. All right, so I love this little series, super cute. Let's try out some of these little inkies in the mat. And just tell me if you're able to find these mat boards wherever you are, because it'd be helpful for everybody else as well if you share that. Okay, a little bird. Little flowers. And little turtle. So it's always fun like playing around with orientations and with little sets as well to see what goes with what. All right. Move this over here a little bit. Super cute. Love it. Love it, love it. Bring you down. You can have a look at the one in the middle. Move back here. So I hope you guys have a lot of fun doing these little 2 inchies. I can't wait to see. Please share in the VIP group yeah, let me know how you go with it and whether you have fun with it. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye for now.